But think of it, a modestly successful comedian. President Zelensky talked the United States of America into spending $350 billion to go into a war that basically couldn't be won, that never had to start and never would have started if I was president, not even a chance, and it didn't start for 4 years.
The United States has dramatically shifted its stance on the Ukraine war under President Donald Trump, marking a stark departure from the Biden administration's unwavering support for Kyiv. In a double blow to Ukraine, the Trump administration has scaled back Washington's backing on two key global platforms, the United Nations and the G7, signaling the most significant overhaul of US-Ukraine policy yet. At the United Nations, the US has tabled a resolution that marks a dramatic shift in policy. The Trump administration's proposal omits strong condemnations of Russia and stops short of demanding a full withdrawal, contrasting sharply with European-backed resolutions that continue to explicitly denounce Moscow's invasion and reaffirm Ukraine's sovereignty. European leaders have reacted with unprecedented alarm to this American retreat. If the US removes its explicit support, it will be much harder for us to maintain the same level of commitment to Ukraine, said an EU official involved in the G7 discussions. French President Emmanuel Macron and German Chancellor Olaf Scholz are now scrambling to prevent a major rift within the alliance.
How can you be credible in front of China if you're weak in front of Putin? If you let Russia take over Ukraine, it will be unstoppable for Europeans, for everyone. But not only would it be even stronger, it will continue to invest, but it will take back Ukraine and its army, which is one of the biggest in Europe, with all our equipment, including American equipment. It's a huge strategic mistake.
Ukraine, which relied on Washington's diplomatic influence to isolate Russia, now faces uncertainty. Ukrainian officials privately acknowledge that the US's softer approach at the UN weakens their leverage in ongoing diplomatic efforts. The G7 statement cements this policy overhaul. The US has actively resisted European efforts to include strong pro-Ukraine language in the joint communiqué, objecting to labeling Russia as the aggressor and steering allies toward negotiations rather than prolonged military support. Trump's rhetoric toward Ukraine has also hardened. He has publicly ridiculed President Volodymyr Zelensky, calling him ungrateful and accusing Kyiv of allowing this war to start. Behind closed doors, Trump has reportedly told aides that Ukraine is Europe's problem and wants NATO allies to shoulder the financial burden.
I love Ukraine, but Zelensky has done a terrible job. His country is shattered, and millions of people have unnecessarily died. And you can't bring a war to an end if you don't talk to both sides. You got to talk. They haven't been talking for 3 years.
For Ukraine, which had counted on sustained American support, this policy shift presents an immediate crisis. The Trump administration has already begun slowing military assistance, with reports emerging that a fresh aid package is under reconsideration.